Good evening, Simon here, Explosive Action, and we are back with a metal update. We are looking at some records and some CDs today, and in the background we are listening to German black metal band Nox in Tempesta. This is the release Daminus Dominum, I hope I'm saying that right, from 1998. The only album these guys did, they did an EP before and a few EPs after, but just this album, and yeah, it's a shame because it's really good, fast, furious German black metal. But the singer and guitarist did form Necros Christos out of the ashes of this band. So you win some, you lose some. First record we're looking at here is the new Nocturnal Departure album, Worm Moon Offering, not Full Moon Offering. Worm Moon Offering. Yeah, this is the new release for 2020 on Death Cult Productions. What do we get this time around? Far more stripped back. This is way more raw than the album from last year. Album from last year was definitely one of my highlights, and this one's no different. This is just way more straight ahead. Performed live, recorded live, and it's, yeah, as I said, way more stripped back. Really good, high quality. And I don't know what else to really say about it. It's raw. I wouldn't have said last year's album was raw black metal. I would have just said black metal, but because of the nature of the production on this one, it's raw black metal this time, and it's good stuff. It really is good stuff. I think this was limited to 100 or 200 copies. There is a cassette as well. There is probably a CD, and there's a poster, and yeah, just the photo and song sheet in there. So there you go, that is Nocturnal Departure with Worm Moon Offering. Very, very good stuff. And speaking of raw black metal, new one from Azeroth. This is a Ceremonial Crypt Desecration, Australian one-piece band, and Vampiric Rites. Yes, another Vampiric Rites. Big fan of those guys. They're from Ecuador. And yeah, both bands here playing a handful of tracks on, I think it's 45 RPM, and yeah, it's super raw black metal. The Vampiric Rites stuff, just like usual, sounds like, you know, early Emperor demos. That's the sound they go for. Opens with a you know, a moody synth piece, and then just goes straight into the black metal. And yeah, they really do sound like early Emperor demos. I guess it's just the sound they're going for. I mean, it's also the appearance that they kind of go for. If you go back to, you know, the first Emperor stuff, it has this look to it. And Ceremonial Crypt Desecration, yeah, one-piece black metal band from Australia. Even more raw than Vampiric Rites. It's quite a muddy sound. It's the ability to discern the instruments is kind of difficult because of the muddiness of the sound, but that just provides a big atmosphere, a real evil atmosphere, and it's really good stuff. Both acts on here are really good. Usual Azeroth stuff, it's just a black LP, not particularly labelled, it just says A and B. And is there a slip or anything? No, that's your lot. Comes in there sort of cool, you know, they're cardboard slip things that they do at Azeroth, rather than just sort of a regular sleeve. And yeah, that's what I could say. Raw black metal, Ecuador and Australia, so very good stuff there. And the next one we got here is the new EP from Astra Ferris. This is the Lower Levels of Sentience, not Sentence. These guys are fantastic. This is the follow-up from their demo from last year, or it might have even been early this year. I can't keep track anymore. I think it was the end of last year. Really thick, brutal death metal. Think along the lines of Imprecation, early like Infesta. I think that gives you a good idea of the sound here. There's a bit of D beat as well, but it's really, really good stuff. This is a 45, 4 tracks, 2 on each side. Does what it says on the tin. These guys are going to, I think when they put out a full-length album, they're going to really nail it. So keep an eye on this, guys. Astra Ferris, the Lower Levels of Sentience. A step up from the demo. Really good EP. And here's a full length from another demo band. This is Azath with Through a Warren of Shadow. They did a demo in 2018, which was really good. And I kind of forgot about the band after that demo because, I don't know, just went quiet. And then they came out of nowhere and announced this album. And I was very happy that they did because they've just really honed their art. It's some really dark death metal. Angel Corpse is the first thing I thought of. It's pretty fast the whole time. Lucifer for a newer band, I reckon a good mix between Angel Corpse and Lucifer, and you'll get Azath. Like, it's heaps evil. I mean, look at that. It's evil as. Yeah, real evil sound. On Pulverized Records. Pretty easy to get. This one I actually got on Amazon, so it's not hard to find. They're a mix of US and Canadian nationals, so I'm not too sure how that works. I guess they record the pieces and send them to each other or something, but there you go. That's Azath with Through a Warren of Shadow. Really, really good stuff. Highly recommended. Next one, another split. This is the split between Mortal Wound and Gutless. Gutless being an Australian band from Melbourne, who are a Maggot Stomp demo band and have done now this split with Mortal Wound. And both bands, awesome stuff in here. Probably the best Mortal Wound tracks that I've heard yet. Their demo, it's almost an EP because they did an LP release of it as well. That was fantastic. Gets a lot of plays around here. And there's 3 tracks here from them on this one, and 2 tracks from Gutless on here. Gutless have really improved from their demo. It's just both bands are just solid death metal. They're not pulling any other punches here. They're not trying to be anything else. They're just death metal. Similar styles, but also not clones of each other or anything like that. Just well complementing each other on this split. Awesome cover. I love that cover art. A few things in it. There was a bunch of stickers. Some I've already stuck up everywhere. And a poster, which is kind of interesting. There you go. But yeah, nowhere to hang these things, so the posters never go up. And the lyric sheet, which is cool. Both bands. Yeah, that's it, I think. Oh, hello, what do we got here? That was the hype sticker from the front there, Mortal Wound and Gutless. And yeah, as I said, a bunch of stickers which I've stuck all over the place already, so there you go. The new one from Mortal Wound and Gutless. Can't wait for full lengths from both of those bands because they're going to kick ass. Speaking of full lengths from cool kick-ass bands, Faceless, Burial, awesome, fantastic, another Melbourne band. Saw these guys live last year, supporting Necrop. Man, that was a hell of a show. It was Golgothan Remains, Vile Apparition, Faceless, Burial, and Necrop. Like, superb night of death metal. And yeah, Faceless Burial played a couple of tracks, I think at least a couple of tracks from this album, which wasn't yet out, but I recognised them as soon as I played this. I heard that track played live, and man, their EP from, was it last year, maybe the year before, that was great. Their first album was good. This is phenomenal. This is going to go top of end of year list, absolutely. Their drummer is amazing. I think he's also the drummer in Infernal Rot, grindcore band. And I mean, look at that cover art for starters, fantastic. These guys, I guess they're sort of like Australian Tomb Mold, I guess maybe it's a thing to say. Just a black LP, very cool. Yeah, a Tomb Mold is sort of the style I feel when I hear these guys, but I far prefer this album to Tomb Mold's latest one, like leagues and leagues ahead. So there's the booklet, which is also pretty cool. Fold-out poster thing. Very nice. Awesome colours on that. Yeah. This is the, as I said, the new album. What is it called? Speciation. Speciation? Yeah. Speciation. I'm really bad with album names. Like, I just call it the new one from the latest release from. That's how I always am. It'll take me a while to remember the name of this album. But for the moment, it's the latest one from Faceless Burial, and I think it's going to end up on the end of the year list. Top quality death metal. Very, very happy with that. I'm going back in time for the next two now. I've been getting some old stuff in each of my updates. You've been seeing lots of old thrash and old heavy metal. No exceptions here. I picked up another Agent Steel. Oh yeah. This is the Mad Locust Rising EP. This was after the first 2 albums. I think it was the next thing they did was this EP. And the first track on here, which is the main track for it, is Mad Locust Rising, and is probably the fastest thing that these guys did, at least up until this point. Just ripping speed metal. This is a track that you would say, yes, they're a thrash band. Normally I'd say they're more of a speed metal band, but the speed of that song, it's thrash. It's just down-route thrash. Fantastic stuff. Of course, it goes by very quick. It's 45, and that track is 4 minutes 20 on side, and then it's time to flip over. On side B, you get a cover of Judas Priest, The Ripper, which is really good. And another track is Let It Be Done, The Day at Guyana. I'm not sure what that is. And it says To Be Continued, so another album to listen to after this one, I am sure. But for the moment, really happy to pick up Mad Locust Rising into my Agent Steel collection. So now I've got 2 albums and 1 EP. And leaving the best till last and filling an enormous hole in the record collection. Can't believe it took me this long. Death Angel, The Ultra Violence. Not particularly easy to find. I missed out on a couple of local copies, and then when the third one, in a matter of months, the third one was listed and jumped straight on it. Had to get it, not gonna stuff around this time. What do you get with Death Angel? You get some of the fastest Californian, I think, thrash metal from 1987 that you're gonna hear. This stuff was amazing. Their debut was just absolutely crushing. Really quite technical as well. I mean, the actual track, The Ultra Violence, is a 10-minute instrumental. No lyrics, it's just 10-minute instrumental, and it goes all places. It's it's quite a track. This release is well, there you go. There's the inner sleeve. So I got the original inner sleeve, which is good. And I think it is, yes, the Under One Flag edition. So the first Europress, I assume, if it's under one flag. I'm stoked to get this. Totally stoked. Definitely the main thrash album the American thrash album that I needed to fill a hole in the collection. Death Angel, The Ultra Violence, awesome stuff. Okay, now onto the CDs. The first one we've got is the new one from Incantation. Old, dependable Incantation. This is the Sect of Vile Divinities. It's Incantation. It's Incantation. I don't know what else I'm supposed to say. It's death metal that sounds like Incantation because it's Incantation. But how is it compared to their previous stuff? So far, on the first couple of listens, it's good. It's not their best. It's really clean. The production is really clean. Doesn't bring anything particularly new to the table. It's just more Incantation, but that's what they do. It is, like I said, though, it is a cleaner sound. You're kind of more used to a more brutal edge to these guys, and it's still heavy as hell, but it's just a bit more refined, I suppose, this time. So I need a bit more time with it. Sect of Vile Divinities, but it's still a solid album. So there you go. It's the new one from Incantation. I love that cover art. Very, very cool. Playing catch up here. Deeds of Flesh, Path of the Weakening. Missing from my collection. I was missing 3 Deeds of Flesh. I now am missing 2. Man, Deeds of Flesh are great. I've always loved these guys. There's a Deeds of Flesh for every season. Like the first EP, Gradually Melted stuff was just early 90s brutal death metal, and then the last stuff from like 2013 was really quite technical brutal death metal. They're just a great band. They just keep on giving. The guitarist, he knows what he's up to, and it's a real shame that the band technically don't exist anymore. I think it was the guitarist that passed away. But from what I'm piecing together is he recorded enough of the tracks that they have a new album coming out called Nucleus. And There's going to be some guest vocals on that album, and it's sort of going to be the final hurrah. So I'm looking forward to checking out how that one goes. But in the meantime, though, Path of the Weakening, this is from 98, I think. 98, 99, something like that. And it's just solid, straight ahead, brutal, Deeds of Flesh death metal. Great stuff. Definitely one that you want to have in your collection of Deeds of Flesh stuff. You know, it sounds like Inbreeding the Anthropophagi, the album before it. It's just a continuation of that theme. So there you go. Deeds of Flesh, Path of the Weakening. Really good stuff. Picked up 2 Necrophobic. Band that I love Necrophobic, particularly the early stuff. Blood Hymns was the first album I got. Then I worked backwards. And I'm missing a couple of the ones after that. But I thought I'd get a few of the newer ones. And so we start off with the brand new one, which is Dawn of the Damned. It's really good so far. It reminds me definitely of the Blood Hymns era rather than the Dark Side era, which was more I almost want to say thrashier, but anyway. It's just solid Swedish black death metal. That's Necrophobic. They've always had a sound, and there's just no difference here with Dawn of the Damned. And this, I found this kind of interesting. I don't know if they intended it, but anyway. The album before this is Mark of the Necrogram. I mean, spot the cover difference. It's... they're pretty damn similar. It's like looking at a Dark Funeral cover. Like, is it really the same album? I don't know. Anyway, Mark of the Necrogram, that was the one before this. I'd say the latest has got the edge on it, but both are really good. I need to spend a bit more time with them. As I said, I only just got these, and it's just Swedish black death metal from Necrophobic. I need to fill out about 2 more, I think, to get the full set of these guys. So there you go, Necrophobic with Mark the Necrogram, and the latest one, Dawn of the Damned. Good stuff. I found this one really cheap, so I decided to pick it up. It was on Amazon for like $8 Australian, including shipping. Occasionally I go on Amazon Australia, and go to the metal CDs and just order it by the cheapest. And you do that, and you just... Once you get past all the Deftones and all that garbage, you will eventually find something like this, and that is a Nightbringer album. Nightbringer is banned from the US, US black metal. I didn't know about these guys until I picked up a release that they did with Abigail, and I really liked the track that they did on that release. They've got a sound that is a bit like that modern Abigail sound, the sort of, what do you want to call it? It's I don't know what we would call that modern Abigail sound. It sounds like modern Abigail. It's got this spacey black metal sound going on, I suppose. I keep wanting to say industrial, but it's not the right word. But anyway, Nightbringer have that kind of sound to it, very polished, very future-thinking black metal sound, but it's really, really, really evil sounding. It's got an ambience that just flows through it that is just dark and depressive. This album is called Hierophany of the Open Grave, I think is what it is. Anyway, yes, Hierophany of the Open Grave. There you go. And this is from 2011, I think. It's not a particularly new one. As I said, it was like a stocking filler. This was so cheap. CD's in the player somewhere, but yeah, on the first listen through, this is really good. And I want to check out some more from Nightbringer. It's good stuff. And from the same main guitarist and songwriter, one of his other bands is Beastia Arcana, another band that I hadn't really listened to, but I had heard this name before, and this is also from around about 2011, 2010, I think, 2012, I don't know, earlier in this decade. Similar stuff. All of this guy's stuff has a similar sound to it. Other bands are Aotas and Gutless. I've had their stuff for ages, and it's really good. And Beastia Arcana is very similar to the Gutless stuff, I think. Again, it's got a modern black metal sound, but it's really quite dense, it's quite suffocating, and it's just pure evil. the guy or the rest of the band that is involved in this, at least, I mean, just know how to make evil sounding black metal. I think it is definitely at least a 2-piece. So there you go. But yeah, this bloke here, Nars Alchemath, is quite prolific in a lot of these bands, and yeah, so there you go. This is Beastia Arcana. They got another album after this, the Dark Descent, I think, put out. So I should check that one out as well. But very good. Moving back into death metal territory now, picking up some Ectoplasma. These guys are great. Greek death metal. This is White-Eyed Trance. You get exactly what it says on the tin with these guys. It's just horrific sounding death metal. They like the old school. They like old Obituary. They like Bolt Thrower. They like sort of mid-era Cannibal Corpse. That's Ectoplasma. Really good stuff. As I said, they're from Greece. I think this is the 3rd album. Yeah, on Memento Mori. Getting a bit of a minor name for themselves just because they're putting out this really top quality death metal. And yeah, I need to get their latest stuff. So a couple of EPs they did, and I would really like to pick them up. So hopefully I can. This is White-Eyed Trance. Really, really good, as I said, Greek death metal. Awesome stuff. Reissue here. This is Scabbard, a band that I'd never heard of. Beginning of Extinction. Where were these guys from? I did look it up. I think from Czech Republic. And they released this album in about 96. This is their debut album. But this is the reissue from, I think it's a Japanese or a Chinese label. Awakening Records China. There you go. And I'm not really sure what possessed them to do this, but they've released 3 albums from Scabbard. And it's just top quality 90s death metal that I missed. It sounds a bit like Cancer. I reckon that was the best example. They sound like, you know, a bit like Cancer. They sound like 1996 death metal. You know, like so many bands had a sound like that. There's the booklet, the Awaken series. So there's the other albums from Scabbard. There, we've got some other stuff coming out from Casket Grinder, Park Crest, and Evil Cult. I don't know any of those bands. There you go. It's the Awaken series. And this was kind of cool. Let Metal Rule the World, Awakening Records. So this is the OVI strip thing that they put on there, which was kind of cool. But yeah, it's just straight ahead, sort of mid-paced, mid to late 90s death metal. Exactly what it says on the tin. Really cool cover art. I really like that one. I've got the ability to get the other 2 albums if I want, and I might. I'm not entirely sure yet. What am I re-sleeving anyway? I think for Scabbard, from the quick listing I did, their style changed a bit with each album after this, and the 3rd album after this one. I listened to the 3rd one a bit, did not like it as much. I think this one might be their best, so I might just stick with this one from the Beginning of Extinction reissue from Awakening Records in China. Very good stuff. And the last CD we're going to look at is Pharmacist. This is great. Medical Renditions of Grinding Decomposition. This is Japanese. It looks like gore grind. It is gore grind, but it's more death grind, really. Just think Symphonies of Sickness era Carcass. I know that's a bit of a cop-out, but that's exactly what this is. It's really good stuff. Now, if this cover looks familiar to you, then you must be familiar with Pathologist. This is Pathologist Grinding Opus of Forensic Medical Problems. And as I said, this is Pharmacist Medical Renditions of Grinding Decomposition. Man, I'm just going to laugh at this for a bit. Definitely more than a homage on this one. Yeah, anyway, so Pathologist, they played Carcass Worship, bit gorier than Symphonies of Sickness, whereas Pharmacist took the visual image from Pathologist, but the sound, it is quite gory, it is gore grind, but it is leaning a little bit more to the death grind side. Bit of necroticism creeping in as well than just the early Reek and Symphony stuff. It's top quality, gurgly vocals, blast beats. It's got great emulation of Ken Owen's drumming, just the way he did little triplets and things like that. I think it's really quite neat. Let's see if there's any cool artwork in here. Oh, there you go. That's what you want from your Carcass Worship right there. And all your song titles. You got Cadaveric Osseous Stalactite. Fumes of Exhumation, which sounds just like a Carcass song. Corporal Colophony Nectar. Man, this is great stuff. I do like a bit of gore grind. And Pharmacist. Yeah. Pharmacist, not pathologist, but pharmacist. Very good stuff on... who's this on? I can't make out who the name of the record label is. Bizarre Leprous Production. There you go. I got this from a local distro, but yes, Japanese release. So very good 2020 release from Pharmacist, and that's your lot. That's my records and CD update. Hope you all enjoyed. See you next time.